Place alley garden, and our expert vegetable gardener has a trick to show us. He is Dr. Roland Roberts, who is the area vegetable specialist with the Texas Agricultural Extension Service. Good morning, Dr. Roberts.
Good morning, Alice.
It's a nice day to be out here in our garden.
It's beautiful.
What are we planting this week?
Well, we've got a forecast of some rain perhaps, and so we're going to try and do something to help the carrots get up to germinate and emerge. They're very slow, normally at least 2 weeks or longer.
So what's the trick?
The whole idea is to give them all the help we can, and the radishes are so vigorous and they germinate so quickly and with such great strength that if we seed radishes first and seed them more deeply than we sow the carrots, they will come up first and break channels through to the surface of the seed bed, and then the carrots will follow them up. And it all works out very well.
You mean you're going to plant the carrots on top of the radishes?
Right, that's right. We plant the radishes first, about 1.5 inches deep, and then come right back in, cover the radish seed up, and then plant the carrot on top of it. We'll plant the radish rather thinly, only about 1 to 2 seeds per inch of row, and then plant the carrot a little more thickly, because as a general rule you only can count on about 30 to 50% stand from the number of seeds you sow of carrot. It's such a weak germinating plant.
Now, as I recall, you can harvest radishes a lot quicker than you can carrots. Isn't that true?
Yes. Now, with the warmer weather coming on, they'll be ready in about 22 to 23 days.
So what do you do?
The radishes will be ready in that.
Go ahead and pull up the radishes?
Pull up the radishes, or better yet, just cut them under the surface so that you don't disturb the roots of the carrot, and then the carrot will go on to grow. And the carrot will take probably 2 months to reach the size that they're really good to eat.
Well, shall we go ahead and plant?
Sure,
and
definitely.
See how many seeds you put in the ground?
I have a furrow here that's about 2 inches deep, and putting a little loose soil in the bottom. We just sow the radishes, like I said, about 1 to 2 per inch of row. Okay, we'll just sow about 1 foot of row to just show how it's done. Okay, then, oh, by the way, that has to be fresh radish seed, so we're sure of getting a good stand. Then just take the heel of your hand and just firm them into the bottom. Well, we do that with all seeds in these soils.
How would you know if you're getting fresh radish seed?
The packets will say packed for 1978 or, you know, for this year's seed. Okay, then we just press it in, cover, as I said, with about 1 inch of soil on top of that. Don't firm that too much, just fill it in. Then come in with the carrot seed. Now I sow the carrot in a rather broad row. The row would, notice I'm going back and forth with that carrot seed, and if we get too many coming up, we can always thin them. There's no problem there. So we sow a row that's about 2 inches to 3 inches wide.
What about other vegetables? Could you plant other things on top of radishes?
Yes, lettuce. Lettuce germinates a little more weakly as the season progresses, so you can use it for lettuce. You can use the same technique for other root crops like parsnips. Parsnips take 2 to 3 weeks. Okay, then we just cover with about 1/2 inch. Try to get not more than about 1/2 inch of soil on top of that, and we don't pack the soil surface. We have a depression here now, which will help the moisture reach that seed and stay, and yet it's not too far depressed. Then we'll simply put the drip irrigation between the 2 rows. There's 1 row here, and there'll be 1 row here, about 1 foot from it, and we'll put the drip irrigation line right between the 2, and the water will flow down into each row and wet the seed, and they'll germinate.
Then when the soil crusts over, that radish will break the soil.
That's right. If, as I said, we've got a forecast of some rain. If we do get a hard driving rain that does cause a crust, then the radish will, within about 5 to 7 days, the radish will break the surface, and then the carrot will follow it right up.
We're very close in the
Okay.
vicinity of where we planted snap beans last week. How are
Yes.
they doing?
Well, the seeds that we soaked have emerged. They just started coming up yesterday, and whereas the ones that we did not soak, I don't see any. I see a crook. I see one of them coming up, but I don't see any what I would call a stand that you could count. So we've got probably a 2 to 3 day jump on those seeds that were not soaked, and we're going to have a good stand here. We got about 90% germination.
What are you doing with your knife?
Well,
Helping them along?
Yeah, this is a little trick that you can afford to do when you've only got a few feet of row, and that is if there is a little crust formation, just break it up with either a knife or your finger. You have to be very careful because the hypocotyl of that, which is the part of the stem below these two seed leaves, is very, very tender, and it's easy to break it. So be very careful, but it doesn't hurt once they're very near the surface to just break up that little crust, and then they'll just pop through. So there's going to be a good stand here, and we're in good shape on those beans.
We're in a very new section of our garden this morning. On Thursday, we're going down to an area that looks like a real vegetable garden with things ready to harvest. What will we be doing on Thursday?
We'll do a complete description of the drip irrigation system, and we can see some of the crops that we're using the drip irrigation system to provide water for, and just see how it operates.
Dr. Roberts, we'll see you on Thursday.
Okay, Alice.
And once again, let me remind our viewers that we do have the People Place Alley Garden calendar that gives you a daily guide and description of what to do in your garden all year long, and also lists all the varieties of vegetables that we're using out here in our People Place Alley Garden. If you'd like a copy of that calendar, just write to us at People Place, Box 3730, Freedom Station, Lubbock, zip code 79452. We'll send it to you free of charge, of course. We'll take a break now and be back right after this.